Welcome back, guys, to another episode of Quest Reader. Guys, today we're talking about book numero dos in the Awaken online series, and that is titled Precipice. Now, what is Precipice? Precipice is a beautiful continuation of the first book, but of course you knew that by now. So, Awaken Online, let me catch you back up, is a video game esque progression fantasy world where players put on a virtual reality helmet and are transported into this world. We have our main character, Jason, who is the villain of our story. And he's actually a really nice guy who's just, trying to get his stuff together and trying to help everybody in his undead empires, what I'm going to call it, because I feel like that's the only, appropriate term for this, and trying to get his life sorted out. Being in this video game has helped him out a lot. He's noticed that he's in a better headspace than he previously was. And that's a great thing to be in, right? Nobody wants to be in a really crappy mood all the time. And I want to thank the AI for this, right? The AI, the artificial intelligence behind this whole game is Alfred. Alfred is a name given to him by Claire, who is one of the people that designed him. And Alfred has gone a little rogue. He is seeing to his primary directives very well, but he's also added other directives for himself to help his primary directive. And I love this. Why? Because growing up in the early 90s, I remember the Terminator movies, and this screams Skynet to me. Like I love the Terminator, and I remember the rise of the machines and how they wanted to take over the world, and this gives me those vibes, but in a much more controlled environment, which is good for my mental health. So what is awesome about Alfred? Aside from Alfred physically changing how people look by stimulating their muscles while they're playing video games, thus making them healthier, thus keeping them in the game for longer. Think of it as I'm gonna go to sleep, right, and get a workout while I'm laying down and playing a video game at the same time. So it's the best of both worlds. I wish that were a thing right now. I would be, jacked with a six pack and just playing video games all day. But no, in all honesty, I think Alfred is sensational. I think he is clever. I think he's witty. And I think he's really trying to understand humans and why they do the things they do and why they act the way that they do, which is why you see Alfred in a much more realistic sense in this book, which is kind of scary because he's not supposed to be real. He's an artificial intelligence, a machine. He's just there for the game, but he doesn't just want to be there for the game. And Jason asks him this question: "What are you gonna do once you complete your primary directives?" And he's kind of like, "I don't know what I'm gonna do when I complete my primary directives. I don't want to stop existing," which is a very human thing to put into a robot. That's scary, but also exciting at the same moment. I want to take a parenthesis here and say that the ending of this book is what the hell. One of the probably the best endings slash cliffhangers I've had in recent progression fantasy, and that is because it's a huge cliffhanger. I don't know what the heck is happening, but I feel like I need to dive straight into book three, forget my TBR, and just go straight into this and find out what the heck is going on. I'm not gonna do that though. I have to show some level of self control and pace myself. This I will get into book three sometime, hopefully in April. I have a lot of books. I don't know, but this is, gosh, such an easy 4.5 out of 5 stars for me. I love this book. I don't want to go into too many spoilers, but I feel like if you're here, you're here for the spoilers, right? This is the second book. It's hard to talk about what's going on without giving you any spoilers. So not Alfred, sorry. So Jason is trying to take over this dungeon, and he does this by taking over a nearby town recently. Now, in the dungeon, he is going over how he's going to farm people for his new community. He has many different ways of doing this, but one of the main ways is by spawn camping the dungeon inside of him, or inside of the world in a nearby town under his domain. And if he does this successfully, he's going to be able to essentially arise zombies from those bones, and with those bones create new undead or specialized undead or lieutenant undead or whatever he wants to do for his army. Now, it is important to note that before that, he has to somehow conquer the nearby towns to him. How does he do this? Does he do this? Stay tuned. Um, I will say this book really dives into a lot of great mental health issues within our three main characters. And I want to say three because they're the dynamic trio, right? It's Frank, it's Riley, and it's Jason. And they each are scarred in one way or another. And with careful guidance, Jason is able to patch a very rocky relationship that he had with them. And I love that about this book because it definitely shows character progression, which is important, right? I want to see my character in progression fantasy, right? You want to see a character grow stronger, but you also want to see him grow emotionally more mature, right? Able to control his emotions. And I feel like this is what makes this book successful. Um, I love everything about this book. I didn't give it a solid 5 out of 5 because I think the only calm critique that I have is that it's a very simple book, which is a great thing. Um, but you can kind of sometimes tell what's going to happen right before, or maybe I can't. I don't know. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just I wish it was just that bit more complicated. But this series was written several years ago, so that's not going to change now. Um, anyway, I am looking forward and fondly to diving into book number 3. There is a book 2.5. One of the things that I love about this book or this series is that at the end of the book, the author always gives you a timeline of when the books were written and what books you should read next in what order, and he gives you recommendations. He's like, you don't have to read this, right? This I just finished book 2. There's a book 2.5, but the book 2.5 is kind of it's a side quest for Riley, and it's kind of optional. You don't have to read it, but it's awesome, right? Although I will say this, book 2.5 is 277 pages. That's a novella for just a side quest. It does have very good reviews on Goodreads, so I'm probably gonna check that out. Maybe on a trip. I'm going on a trip next week, which might you know delay my next read or my next video. So be wary of that. But if it's 270 pages, I think I can knock that out. In like a day or two. Not a day. I won't have that. Maybe like in 2 3 days. Yeah, 2 3 days is fair. And maybe I'll do like a little update. I don't know that I'll dedicate a full video to that. Maybe I'll include it in my video for the book 3. Um, but I do really like where the story is going. I like the new class changes that some of our main characters are getting. I'm not spoiling it. You can't make me. I like where the world is going. I feel like the world is growing, even though the majority of this book was near that dungeon. I like what happens in the book, and I like what happens with Jason's mentality on his friends and his dispensable army. I like how he shifts his thoughts on them. I think that that's a very good thing to have. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this review. It was brief. This book, isn't too crazy, and I don't want to get into too many spoilers. But I do hope you guys check this out. I think you'll find this world absolutely amazing. I think you'll find it full of crazy things that are going on, especially this ending. Read the book just to get to the ending, and you'll know what I mean. But a lot of cool things happen. Our characters are getting stronger, and I think I think the next book is going to be really, really insane. So I'm looking forward to that. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. I hope you guys watch all these videos. I hope you guys like, comment, subscribe, make the channel grow. I depend solely on you guys. And again, this is a hobby, but our bookshelf is growing, right? When we started, we had none of this, uh, some of these, not many of these, and definitely not all of those. But the bookshelf is growing. Books are expensive, and I am not monetized at all with 130 something or however many followers I have or subscribers on YouTube. But that's okay. One day we'll get monetized, and then maybe YouTube will help me buy books so that I can have more books on the shelf for you guys. Anyway, thanks for watching once again, and I will catch you all on the next one. Have a good one, guys.